The IRS has been issuing warning after warning on how ERC fraud is a huge problem. This is potentially a $2 trillion fraud according to Accounting Today. Think of it this way. If the IRS has been defrauded of $2 trillion, that's our American tax money that's just been stolen. The IRS is angry and frustrated like I've never seen before, and they should be. I'm angry as well, and so should you be. Employee retention tax credit fraud could be the biggest tax scam in government history. It's much bigger than PPP and stimulus check fraud, making it the biggest issue the IRS has ever had to deal with. I've never seen anything like this. Later in the video, I'll play some never heard before sound bites from the latest IRS enforcement webinar on ERC fraud. Stay tuned. Hey there, I'm Noel Lorenzana. I'm a CPA with 25 plus years of experience. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I believe that you should pay no more in taxes than you legally owe. I also feel that you shouldn't have to be afraid of taxes or the IRS. With that being said, let's dive right in. You've all seen the ads with these companies promoting $26,000 tax credits per employee and how they're getting businesses hundreds of thousands of dollars back in tax credits. And now these unscrupulous promoters advertise that just about anyone qualifies. So this tax credit is totally legit, but let's be real. When there's a bunch of free government money on the table and everyone's talking about it, unscrupulous companies will invariably try to cheat the system. Let's call them ERC promoters for the sake of this discussion. And in this case, many business owners have intentionally or unintentionally gamed the system and may have ended up with tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax refunds that they may not actually be entitled to. I'm not going to go into the specifics of who qualifies and how to qualify, but just know the rules to qualify are pretty straightforward, but these ERC promoters have stretched the qualification rules, and to make matters worse, they've put the ultimate responsibility back on the business owners who are claiming the credits. And in all likelihood, when the proverbial shit hits the fan, the ERC promoters will be long gone and you'll be on your own trying to figure it out and where it all went wrong. Here's a pro tip. If you've already reached out to your CPA, accountant, or tax professional, and they already told you that you didn't qualify, then you probably don't qualify for the ERC, regardless of what these fly-by-night ERC promoters tell you. Listen for yourself. This soundbite is from Lloyd Kinlaw. He's from the IRS Office of Fraud Enforcement.
Also, we're seeing promoters that are telling businesses to claim the ERC because they have nothing to lose. And also, there may be promoters telling businesses to ignore the advice of their trusted tax professional.
Ignoring the advice of your trusted tax professional? You probably don't want to do that. Okay, so here's something else to think about. If someone received a fraudulent ERC refund, how long can the IRS go after them? This is a great question because I see a lot of wrong answers, including from tax professionals. This question was actually included in the IRS ERC enforcement webinar. Let's read. What is the statute of limitations to assess tax attributable to ERC that was reported fraudulently? Think it over. Let me know what you think. A lot of people think it's B, 3 years, but it's actually C. There is no statute of limitations. Why is this? According to the IRS and my old tax professor, Mr. Rowe, from the point of view of the IRS, fraud is forever. Meaning, if it's a case involving fraud, there is no statute of limitations and it stays open forever. The IRS can go after you anytime until the day you die. Okay, check this out. According to Accounting Today, a number of these ERC promoters have a clause in their agreement that promises that if the taxpayer ever gets audited, they, the ERC promoter, will pay for the audit defense to defend the customer, and the ERC promoter will pay for any credits that the government demands they pay back. Do you believe that? That sounds great and all, but here's the thing. I personally doubt these ERC promoters will be around to honor that clause, especially with there being no statute of limitations. What do you think? Am I overreacting? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Next up, I'm going to play some more sound bites from the latest IRS enforcement webinar. I hope I don't get into trouble for this, so please do me a favor and hit the like button and consider subscribing along with the notification bell. So here's what the IRS says with regards to ERC promoters charging high fees and the potential consequences to employers.
There are some serious consequences falling victims to these scams. The promoters will charge a large fee, so they will not see the entire amount of the refund that is reported on the tax return. However, if that tax return comes under examination, then the IRS holds the employer responsible for repaying the entire amount of the credit. And in addition to that, the employer may be liable for interest, and potentially they could be liable for penalties as well.
That's right. The employer will have to repay the entire ERC refund amount, including what they paid to the ERC promoter. Good luck getting that back from the ERC promoter. Let's listen to what the IRS has to say about the things to look out for in determining if you're dealing with a sketchy ERC promoter.
Things that you should look out for are unsolicited calls or advertisements that mention an easy application process when it comes to the employee retention credit. There may be promoters out there who have predetermined employee retention credit amounts, or they may promise that a company can determine the ERC eligibility within minutes or through gaining little to no information about the employer. One thing that we're seeing among promoters that are pretty aggressive is that they will charge large upfront fees, or they may charge fees that are based on a percentage of the employee retention credit. That's a telltale sign that they may be involved or commandeering a potential scam.
A potential scam. Very interesting. Let's listen to what the IRS has to say about the ads run by these ERC promoters.
There have been many promotions and ads discussing ERC fraud, and I'm sure some of you have probably seen some of these ads, whether it's on social media, radio, television, email, direct mail, whatever method. There are quite a few individuals and companies out there who are pushing promos that misrepresent the employee retention credit qualifications and requirements. And unfortunately, some of our taxpayers have fallen victim to some of these schemes.
Okay, schemes, you heard it. That's right. Let's listen to what the IRS is doing about the ERC fraud problem.
Keep in mind that we have multiple units and divisions and offices within the Internal Revenue Service that are actively addressing employee retention credit non-compliance and fraud. But we do want you to know that the IRS is aware of this activity and we are taking action. And what we're hearing is that practitioners are stating that they've gained new clients, unfortunately, who have come under audit. But we're hearing that some practitioners have had their clients who have been enticed by a lot of these promotions that are put out there by third parties. And then, of course, they come back to their normal preparer for representation in audit.
Interesting. So the tax professionals community is actually benefiting from the influx of ERC audits. That's not surprising. It's going to be huge. If you or anyone you know needs help with an ERC audit or problems with an ERC situation, reach out to me and I can connect you with someone reputable who can help you. I'll leave my contact information down below in the video description. Finally, let's listen to what the IRS says about how to report employee retention tax credit fraud.
Form 14242. And this is a form that you would use to report suspected abusive tax avoidance schemes or tax return preparers who promote such schemes. And this is a form that if you have a client or if you know of someone that was enticed to engage in some type of employee retention credit scheme, this is a form that you would submit.
There you have it. Please let me know what you thought of the video. Share your comments with me down below. I hope you found the video informative. If you did, please like the video and consider subscribing for more content like this one. Do check out these other ERC videos that I think you'll find useful. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.